So you should have spent the last little while looking at a maintenance massage and how to put together a treatment. What we can now do is start to move on and look at pre and post-event massages. Now these are the same principles but ever so slightly different.
Okay, so should we talk about pre and post-event massage a little bit first of all? Pre-event is obviously pre an event, so before someone competes in an event, and it can be absolutely anything. And post-event is after. Obviously we've got inter and intra, which sits in between, so this is during a series of events or between an event, say a football match, while they're still playing. Intra and intra is a little bit more difficult because pre and post is very specific, isn't it? But intra you're kind of trying to do a bit of both, so you've kind of got to work on your feet a little bit with that one, I'd say.
Yeah, that'll often be really relevant, especially where you've got an event that's got heats. So you might run a sprint heat in the morning and then again in the afternoon, but you might also then be running relays. So that'd be a situation where you've got to be really, really adept at adapting to the situation you're in and the massage you're going to give.
Cool. So whatever you're doing, you still need to do consultations with your clients. Obviously, if you're working with a professional body, say, I don't know, an equestrian team or something like that, then you may already have these records completed, and that's slightly different. But if you're going to the local half marathon, you will have to complete consultations for everybody. So what we've put together is a video for consultations separately, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also a demonstration of pre and post event massage as well. So in this video we're just kind of talking around the peripheries of it a little bit.
So a pre-event massage, let's look at that as a standalone. So obviously Tamsin said it's going to be before the event that you do, be that a rugby match, football match, an athletics event, it's before you start. Now your aim as a massage therapist is to ready that individual for the event. It might be to excite the muscle fibres, integrate into their warm-up routine. Quite a lot of athletes in particular sort of use it as part of their warm-up. It's actually part of the routine. Now typically there's a piece of research that's really good that shows that the optimum time for these is about 10 to 12 minutes. If you're over that, you actually start to calm the muscles, turn them off, and therefore you're going to have the opposite effect. So really important to keep it short, snappy, really quite sharp.
Cool. Charlotte said something really important there actually. She said part of their warm-up, so it mustn't be their warm-up, it must actually be part of it. So they still need to go and do their active stretching and stuff like that. They need to get the muscles warmed up and limbered up and the blood flowing themselves. You're just an added bonus onto that.
So you can adapt your techniques to obviously make them quicker, increase the speed, increase the blood flow, increase the neurological excitability. Now some are going to be better than others. Obviously effleurage, petrissage, you can do lots of long quick strokes with your effleurage, increase your movement with your petrissage, and that can all be done quite quickly with an aim to increase the speed. Now other things that you might be looking at doing can do a little bit sort of with vibrations, but typically you're not going to be looking at doing any sort of passive stretching or deep tissue work. It's all about just that really sharp, exciting the muscles, and therefore one of the best techniques you can use, moment.
Again, another really key point there by Charlotte that needs to be enlarged a little bit. If you are working with clients regularly and they've come to an event, you mustn't do anything to try and fix an issue while they're, especially pre-event. That is maintenance massage, and that's one of the key differences, is that anything that's a repair or improving the condition of the muscle is not pre-event, that is maintenance.
And also from a psychological point of view, if you're treating someone you've never worked with before, or perhaps in the same way, if you are treating someone you have worked with before, don't tell them there's a problem. Just before they go off and run their half marathon, you go, oh, you've got a horrible knot in your calf. And it's a really, really negative psychological impact on their event. So your job is just to tell them they feel great, make sure they do, and then send them off on their way.
And again, that's another key thing, isn't it? You're not just working on them physically, you're working on them mentally, and you need to keep that high both physically and mentally. You don't want to bring them down, so stay away from any negative comments or conversations. Light, airy, nothing too specific, but if they don't want to talk either, it really doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah, you've got to make sure you're really paying attention with these pre-events. You haven't got long to get it right.
Pre-event is considered anything 24 hours before the event, so that's quite a huge amount of time. And sort of 24 hours before an event, you don't make that many changes to your massage. But if it's 20 minutes or 24 minutes before your event, you have to make massive changes, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So adapt to when you're treating in the timescale and what you're looking for and what their athlete's hoping to achieve.
The other thing as well is if you know your client and you've worked with them a long time, you know what you can get away with almost, don't you? You know how deep you can go 24 hours before. I've got clients that fly if you give them a massage and others that can barely pick their legs up. So it really isn't very individual thing, massage.
So once you've done that, they've done their event, we're now going to be looking at a post-event treatment. So obviously this is the after the competition, after the event, after the team event, whatever it might be, it's afterwards. So your key aim is going to be to help recovery, calm them, and increase the flow of blood and repair of the soft tissues.
Okay, so again, it's a really short treatment. You're only looking at about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And techniques again. So what can you use, what can't you use? So you can use your effleurage and petrissage. You're just slowing it down a little bit. That's slightly deeper but slower rhythm than you would with your pre-event. You've got vibrations which are quite nice to use. You can use compressions now, can't you? I probably wouldn't use frictions, not very pleasant, and certainly no depotment because it's all about bringing it down mentally and physically.
The other thing that is really often quite useful after an event as well is some passive stretching. Now this can just help to sort of increase or maintain the muscle flexibility and the muscle range after an event, especially where sort of they're quite sore, someone's done quite a lot of work, bit of stress on the muscles. So that is something else that you should really consider putting into your post-event massage.
Definitely, and you should really talk through your client with this one. It needs to be a team effort, doesn't it? Because they can resist, and actually that can be quite a bit of a problem. But
so what we'll do over the next series of videos is obviously, Tamsin said, we're going to work through the consultation, then we've got some examples of pre and post as well, some skills, how to integrate them a little bit, and some sort of top tips from us.
Excellent. Should we move on to consultations?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
See you in a minute.